Miss Griffin's class. This week for our science read aloud, I am reading Would You Rather Be a Tadpole? All About Pond Life. As you can see, this is a Cat in the Hat book. This is by Bonnie Worth. So we are going to read this book and find out about all the animals that live in the pond. If I can find the first page, there we go. Near your house is a place of which I am fond. It's a body of water that we call a pond. I'm going to visit it. You can come too. Your mother will not mind at all if you do. The sunshine beats down, helping pond plants to thrive. The plants feed the pond animals and keep them alive. From the top to the bottom, I think that you'll see that this pond here is lively as lively can be. The smallest things here are so tiny, I hope that you've brought with you your new microscope. Come look at this slide, where in one drop of water, the tiny algae plants float and animals hop. So even in a tiny drop of water, there are creatures living inside the pond. These living things feed on a good range of creatures like freshwater snails and slippery leeches. With their teeth like files, snails scour and glean the algae off rocks, they pick them quite clean. Leeches eat worms way down in the muck. Leeches have muscles that help them to suck. You might hear the buzz of insects around. The pond is a place where insects abound. Metamorphosis, which is shown on these pages, is a great big word for the insect life stages. This bug changes little from a nymph to adult. An incomplete metamorphosis is the result. Complete metamorphosis, see thing two's chart, shows egg, larva, pupa, and adult, the last part. The life of the insect has 4 distinct stages. Can you see the changes that occurs as it ages? So it starts super little, and then gets bigger as it goes. Most pond insects bite, water boatmen do not. The nymphs, as they live down in the leaves and the rot. Breathing under the water is really no trouble. To swim to the top, they drag down a bubble. When the air is used up before they can drown, they capture another and take it back down. When they are ready to take off and fly, they swim to the surface and let their wings dry. This is a fact that will shock and amaze. Some insects live only 2 to 3 days. Before we leave insects, let's visit one more. This is called it's called a water strider. In fact, I see 4. With long legs, it runs on the water, and yet it doesn't fall in and it doesn't get wet. Its belly is waterproof. 2 middle legs row, 2 hind legs steer. You'll be happy to know. These insects are prey to the fish and the frogs and birds. Of these, we will go on now and say a few words. The sunfish can swim near the surface like so. The bullhead and darter both swim down below. Pumpkin seed teeth are so sharp they don't fail to crush shells and eat up freshwater snails. Bluegill eat larvae, a fine fishy treat. For carpe, the algae are tasty to eat. These fish should be wary. You want to know why? Kingfisher is watching from that tree nearby. The moment is right. This will be my hunch. It will swoop down and have some fresh fish for lunch. These ducks like to nest in the grasses on shore, laying 3 or 4 eggs and sometimes even more. The ducklings hatch out, they follow the mother, all in a neat line, one after another. Ducklings are covered with a soft fuzzy down. Down helps them float so they won't drown. Mom teaches dabbling, ducking head over feet to fill up the bill with good food to eat. The grooves of their bill help drain the water you see. For the name of the grooves, they're called lamellae. I can say words. We gotta practice our reading. At the pond you will meet, if you have any luck, a swan or a goose or a whistling duck. With swans or geese, get ready for this. Their voice may come out more sounding like a hiss. What is that sitting over on that fallen log? I think you can tell me. Of course, it's a frog. A frog lays her eggs in a clump in that way, her eggs seem too big to be eaten by prey. Inside of the egg, the tadpole grows, the gills to breathe under the water, you know. In 2 weeks, more or less, out pop tadpoles. They try to blend in, look under those logs, and I think you will find at least 6 baby frogs. At 5 weeks, the tadpole changes some more. Hind legs pop out from where there were none before. The forelegs spread out into lumps at its head. It loses its gills and gets lungs instead. Its mouth and its jaw widen and its tail start to shrink. This tadpole looks like a frog now, I think. You may wonder what makes that loud croaking below. Bullfrog is the name of the loud croaking fellow. It puffs up and lets loose, and away bullfrogs say, "Don't try to eat me, I'm too big, stay away." You'll also find here something else rather cute. It's an amphibian that's also known as a newt. Amphibian, just so you understand, lives part-time in water and part-time on land. The newt hides its eggs among the pond's weeds. Weeds offer protection the little eggs need. When the egg hatches open up, the larvae swims out and lives in the water and swim. When the egg hatches open, a larva swims out. It lives in the water and swims all about. The larva gets bigger and turns into an eft. That's the red critter you see on the left. The eft crawls about on the land on its legs, but returns to the pond when it's time to lay its eggs. Turtle buries her eggs on the banks in the spring. Eating bugs from the pond is her favorite thing. Most turtles bask in the heat of the sun. If you look on the rocks, you'll probably see one. Your mother is calling. It's lunchtime, I see. Tell me, which kind of pond life would you rather be? Of all that I've shown you, pond life as a whole, I'll tell you right now, I'd rather be a tadpole. So that silly book was all about animals that live at the pond, the creatures that live in the water, and all of the things that fly around the pond like the birds who like to eat the fish. Please go answer a question on Google Classroom for me, and I will see you next week. Bye, Miss Griffin's class.